You cannot go 50 feet in the Bay Area without seeing a sign, an ad, a logo for some kind of AI. Love it or hate it, we are living in the epicenter of artificial intelligence here in the Bay Area. San Francisco is famously home to OpenAI. They make the incredibly popular chatbot ChatGPT, which has pretty much become ubiquitous since it was introduced 3 years ago. But a brand new Yale Research Center study found that AI has not massively interrupted the job market in the U.S., at least not yet. But a new CBS News poll found there is still a lot of nervousness about how AI could impact the job market. Americans say they feel like AI will have a negative effect on job availability in their field over the next 10 years. For a time, it seemed like jobs in the creative space would be safer. After all, how does a computer replace an artist? Well, that went out the window with generative AI, which can whip up movies, visual art, poetry, all kinds of content. And people in the music industry seem to turn to it for something a lot of us might not think twice about, those promotional flyers that let you know when a band is coming to town. But some local creatives are putting their foot down and banding together in the name of stopping AI from encroaching on real art. Art comes in many forms.
I like to add a little bit of liquid just to give it some body.
There is, of course, oil on canvas. There's acrylic. There's graffiti. But for the man who goes by KPIX, art is less a hobby and more a lifeline.
Like, money has never been the factor in why I produce art. I produce art because I need it to survive. I produce art because without it, I would die.
He didn't want to use his full name, but the chosen name he's used as a graffiti writer might be recognizable. Early on, though, in his art career, he started a little smaller, working on posters, promoting bands when they'd come to town to play a show.
So you'd get a list of bands, you'd get the date, the location, and depending on the bands and maybe the type of music that they played, you'd create like a scene around that. So
it sounds simple enough, but if you run a venue like Billy Joe Egan does, you know they are a huge part of music culture. Billy owns the Stork Club in Oakland, and when bands come to town, promoters or managers give Billy posters, just like the ones KPIX made, to promote their bands. And recently, Billy started to notice something about those posters was off.
There would be just glaring inconsistencies in someone's hand, teeth, a character's hair. The background would be the same texture as the character. Just things like a human illustrator would have never done.
The promoters were using AI to make the posters instead of hiring an artist to draw something up.
It started with a few maybe smaller artists that were sending us pretty cheap, using cheaper generative AI software, and so it was easy to spot.
You can probably imagine this did not sit well with local artists like KPIX.
it's in fact the opposite of inspiration. It's theft, right? If anyone else did that, it would be theft.
And it didn't sit well with Billy either, who caused a stir on social media when he announced he was banning the use of AI to promote his club. He went a step further, though, and is partnering with artists across the country to get promoters the best possible rate on using a living, breathing, human artist.
I pre-negotiated the rate with these artists. The rate is as cheap as they can go. And we're talking about people who normally get 10 times what they're quoting us.
Billy was pleasantly surprised with the groundswell of support. He says he's had more than 100 artists around the country join in, some of them big names, though they're remaining anonymous.
Look, there's a chance that some, local band will pay $50 to get a flyer done by somebody who does them for like $5,000.
I'd say that's a good deal. If you are a graphic artist who wants to be considered for that project, you can find contact information in the story on our website, kpix.com.